My secret admirer. I never knew who my secret admirer was until I found out. One rainy afternoon. It all started 3 months ago when I received the first note. It was a small piece of paper tucked into my school locker, and it said, "You are amazing, never stop being yourself." At first, I thought it was a joke. Who would send me something like this? I wasn't popular, and I wasn't the kind of person who stood out in a crowd. I just liked to sit quietly and read books. I kept the note anyway. It made me smile. Then, the notes kept coming. Every week, a new one appeared. They were always kind and thoughtful. One said, "Your smile lights up the room," even though I rarely smiled at school. Another said, "You're stronger than you think." The handwriting was neat but unfamiliar. I tried to figure out who it could be, but nobody acted differently around me. Everyone seemed the same. I started looking forward to these notes. They made me feel special in a way I had never felt before. I even began dressing a little nicer and smiling more, wondering if my secret admirer was watching. Sometimes I would glance around the hallways, hoping to catch someone slipping a note into my locker, but I never did. One day, I found a small box inside my locker. It was wrapped in red paper and tied with a white ribbon. My heart raced as I opened it. Inside was a beautiful bookmark with my name written in golden letters. There was also a note that said, "For your favorite books. I hope you like it." I clutched the bookmark tightly and felt my cheeks warm. Whoever this person was, they knew me so well. I decided it was time to find out who my secret admirer was. The next week, I wrote a note of my own. I slipped it into my locker and left it there for the admirer to find. It said, "Thank you for the kind words and gifts. Can you please tell me who you are?" I hoped they would reply, but the next day, there was nothing in my locker. I felt a little sad, but I told myself to be patient. 2 weeks passed, and still nothing. I thought maybe they had decided to stop. But then, one rainy afternoon, I stayed late at school to finish a project. The hallways were quiet and empty. As I walked to my locker to grab my things, I saw someone standing in front of it. My heart leaped. It was Liam, the boy who sat behind me in English class. He was holding a piece of paper and looked nervous. I froze, unsure of what to do. Liam turned and saw me. His face turned red as he quickly tried to shove the paper into my locker, but it slipped from his hand and fell to the floor. I picked it up before he could. And when I read it, my heart melted. It said, "I've liked you for a long time. You're kind, smart, and different from anyone I know. I hope this note makes you smile." Liam stared at me, unsure of what to say. I could tell he wanted to run away, but I smiled at him instead. It was you all along? I asked softly. He nodded, looking down at his shoes. I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable, he said. I just didn't know how to tell you. I shook my head. You didn't make me uncomfortable. Your notes made my days brighter. Thank you. He looked up at me, and I could see the relief in his eyes. We stood there for a moment, the sound of rain tapping against the windows. Then he asked, "Would you like to walk home with me?" I smiled and said, "I'd like that." As we walked together, I realized how much courage it must have taken for him to write those notes. Liam wasn't the loudest or most outgoing person, but he had a kind heart. And that was all that mattered to me. From that day on, we started spending more time together, and my secret admirer was no longer a secret. Instead, he became someone very special to me. As a couple, we tried to always love each other. I hope we will have a bright future with kids and love. Thank you for watching my story. Don't forget to subscribe to get more stories and support this channel.